on a keto or a gluten-free diet, do you ever miss having a good oatmeal cookie? I'm sure you do. I mean, who doesn't like a good old-fashioned oatmeal cookie, right? Well, of course, as we all know, oatmeal is not keto at all. But today, I'm going to teach you how to make a truly keto, gluten-free oatmeal cookie substitute. Now, these cookies have a secret ingredient in them that when you hear it named in the recipe, you're going to be like, what? There's no way that can taste good. But trust me, it is the key ingredient that makes these cookies taste so much like the real oatmeal cookies. Trust me on that. And if you want a printable version of this, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, while you're clicking that subscribe button, right next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell. Click that bell. That way you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And while you do that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line 2 large baking sheets with parchment paper. In a large food processor, combine 1 cup of almonds and 9 whole pork rinds. Pulse on low for about 10 to 12 seconds or until the almonds are coarsely chopped. I usually do this in intervals of about 3 seconds, so I'll do it for 3 seconds and check and see what it looks like, and then 3 seconds more until I get the almonds coarsely chopped. Also, when you're buying your pork rinds, make sure you get the plain pork rinds. You don't want to get the ones with spices on them and end up ruining your cookie or biting into it and you got a spicy oatmeal cookie. It just won't taste right. So make sure you get the plain pork rinds. Add 9 more whole pork rinds. Then pulse again for another 10 to 12 seconds or until you get a oatmeal type consistency in your processor. So again, I usually just pulse it 3 seconds at a time, check and see the texture, then do another 3 seconds and check and see the texture, because you don't want to over process it. You want some nice chunks in there, otherwise it's not going to have the texture of an oatmeal cookie. So think oatmeal when you're looking in your processor and looking at the texture. Once the almonds and pork rinds have been pulsed to oat type consistency, then pour the mixture into a large mixer bowl. Add 1/3 cup plus 2 tablespoons of brown swerve or brown sugar sweetener of your choice. I'm actually using here monk fruit sweetener mixed in with a couple tablespoons of pure maple syrup because I didn't realize I was out of brown swerve when I chose to do this recipe. So the monk fruit sweetener with the pure maple syrup makes a great brown sugar substitute, but ideally you want to use brown swerve. Add 1 teaspoon of coconut flour, 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, depending on how much of a cinnamon flavor you like, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Whisk these all together until they're fully combined and there's no lumps in the brown swerve. Add 4.5 tablespoons of softened butter. Make sure it's just soft, not melted. You want it to be soft enough to be able to mix in easily. And 1.5 tablespoons of neutral flavored oil. I'm using canola oil, but coconut oil is actually the best choice for it. But any neutral flavored oil will work. Just don't use something like avocado oil or olive oil. You don't want your cookies to taste like olive oil or avocado oil. So neutral flavored oil. Beat on low for about 10 seconds or just to moisten the dry ingredients. Then increase the speed to medium and beat on medium for another 30 seconds or until everything is combined. Scrape down the sides if you need to and push all the dough to the center of the bowl. add 1 cold egg and 1 cold egg yolk. Now, I know I'm always telling you guys whenever we've made other cookie and cake recipes, I'm always telling you make sure everything's room temperature, room temperature. That's because those other recipes need a smooth dough. So room temperature ingredients blend together easier to make a smooth dough. This, however, is a lumpy dough because you're going to have that oatmeal feel to it. You need it to be lumpy, so the cold egg and the cold egg yolk actually help it to bind better and not spread as much. So a cold egg and a cold egg yolk is ideal for this because it is a lumpy cookie dough. Add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, then beat on low for 10 seconds, then increase the speed to medium and beat on medium for another 30 seconds or until everything is fully combined and there's no dry ingredients left in the bowl. Scrape down the sides again if you need to and push all the dough to the center of the bowl. If you're wanting just plain cookies, you can go ahead and scoop them out and bake them just as it is. Or if you're like me and you like to add in different things to your cookies, you can take about 1/3 of a cup of any add-in that you want, whether it be raisins or chocolate chips or butterscotch chips, whatever type of add-in you want, about 1/3 of a cup, more or less, depending on how much you want in there. Fold it in gently. You don't want to vigorously stir it because you don't want to smash the almond and the pork rinds anymore because you want to make sure you have that oat-type consistency. So just fold your add-ins gently until they're fully combined. Then scoop the dough out 1 tablespoon at a time onto your prepared baking sheet. Make sure the scoops are about 2 inches apart because these cookies do spread a little bit. Not a lot, but they do spread enough to make a nice cookie shape. Once the dough's all scooped out, then press each scoop into a tight ball. Bake 12 to 14 minutes or until the cookies are just golden around the edges. Remove the cookies from the oven. The cookies will be very soft, so do not try to cook them until they are firm. You will burn your cookies. Most gluten-free baked goods continue cooking after they're out of the oven, so you want to cook them just until they start getting golden around the edges. Do not try to cook them until they are firm. Mine took exactly 12 minutes. Everybody's oven's different, so 12 to 14 minutes. Check them at the 12-minute. If they're not golden around the edges, then put them in for just a couple minutes more. You do not want to cook them past that 14 minutes because you will end up with dry cookies once they cool. So once you remove them from the oven, allow them to cool on the pan for 12 to 15 minutes or until they're firm enough to move without them falling apart. Once they've firmed up, then transfer them to a wire rack and let them cool completely. You can eat them immediately or store them in an airtight container at room temperature. Then they'll be available for you when you're ready to eat them. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, then click the thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.